Deaf to the negative, ignore the naysayers. Get ready for this one, everybody. Because I'm so sick of hearing all the negative comments and the you can't and the why don't you and the blah, 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 blah. I'm over it. So there. Your vision and your heart's desire is uniquely yours. It was not on a conference call and other people weren't invited into it. So when people start saying, let me play devil's advocate, or let me show you all the things that are wrong with your idea, or better yet, in the name of love, I'm going to puke my fear on you. Stop being deaf to that, because the naysayers, well-meaning or not, are missing the vital point. The vital point is your heart and your soul are here on purpose with a purpose. And no other person before you, now or after, will have the unique constellation of gifts and talents to bring that single purpose to fruition. Nobody. So when you compare yourself to someone else, you're cheating yourself. When you sit back and start saying negative things to yourself, you are cheating yourself. So deaf to the negative means your own inner negative and the outer negative, because that kind of limiting belief keeps you small, keeps you in pain. And over time, that heart's vision, that passion, that mission you are here to do will keep showing up until you listen. So the way I see it is, if we want to have an easier life, just listen to what you were here to do and follow it. Sounds simple. On some levels it is. But when we live in a world full of people who have opinions and ideas about what we're supposed to do or what we can do or how it's supposed to work, that aren't living in your skin with your vision, and we let them distract us, we make our road much harder. So when you have self-doubt or those discouraging thoughts, that get in our head, we want to be deaf to those. That means I'm not hearing you. Kind of like when you're a little kid and we went, na, 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 to not hear stuff. We do that inside, right? Because it doesn't help anything to walk around with self-doubt or negative self-talk, beating yourself up. It doesn't help anything. In fact, it holds you back and makes your inner pain greater. So we want to be deaf to the negative, deaf to the inner negative, deaf to the outer negative. One of the ways you can tell when somebody is being limiting or negative is by restricted language or limiting language, like you can only do this or just that. Those kinds of words that qualify something that kind of bring it down are limits and negativity in action. So I had a client one time who said to me, hey, Diane, he was working for a very large pharmaceutical company. He's very successful with them. And he goes, I really want to own my own business. I want to do my own thing to help people with their health. And pharmaceutical company isn't it anymore. And I said, great, awesome. What can I do to support you? How can I help you? Do you want me to help you do research or what? What can I do? Great. Because here's what I know. That the universe would tell that gentleman, or the woman if it was a woman, but in this case it was a guy, that if his idea was okay or not. I don't have to do that. It's not up to me to tell him whether his idea is good or not. He will get the feedback from the universe that will show him where his heart's desire is meant to go. So I said, great, let me support you. He left his meeting with me and then told his well-meaning family, his mom and his dad, both of which gave him all the reasons why it was a really bad idea. Well, the security in that corporate job, and don't forget about health insurance. And, are you sure you really want to start a business? You end up being a slave to the business. And they went on and on and on and on and on with their own fear and their own judgment. And his exciting idea kept getting crushed by their well-meaning love because they didn't want their son to be hurt. Grandfather, he told his grandfather, and his grandfather was a little bit less harsh than the parents, but more had that kind of guilt thing, like, well, do it if you want, but it probably isn't going to work. In my experience, it's not going to work. All these other things, all of these people well-meaning, and it was just crushing and just dimming his vision. So he called me up and he told me what happened. And I said, well, I still believe in you. I think you should do it. I said, I have this belief that we tell our family and our loved ones last, and we go pull off the vision, and then they can say they supported us. And he laughed. So the next week we had our meeting, and he came in and he was all happy, and he had this stack of papers with him. I'm like, what is this? And he said, well, I listened to you and I went to this franchise opportunity, like symposium thing. And he got all this information from all these different things that he would be interested in. And he wanted to go over it all with me. So we went over some of it, and we ruled some out and ruled some in. And we talked about the pros and cons of a franchise versus his own thing. And we just brainstormed all kinds of ideas. Well, long story short, he ended up buying a franchise of a health related business, which was his passion. And it was very successful. I went down and actually helped him stock the shelves, because it was a retail space, and helped him stock the shelves in the beginning and all of those things when it started happening. And I was so excited for him. And so many other people in his world were telling him it would never work. And I knew that if he followed his heart, it would work. And it did. He has 5 of them now. Quite successful, happy, doing great. And the whole family now says they were the ones who supported him. And that's okay that they believe that, because they did underneath all those negative naysayer comments. They did support him, but they puked their own fear on him because they didn't want their loved one to be hurt. So we have to be deaf to that negative and to ignore those naysayers when we're following our vision, because they don't have our vision. They're not supposed to have our vision. They don't know what's in our heart except for what we say or don't say. And they can only compare it to what they know in their autobiography. So as in my person, he followed his heart over the naysayers. And yes, he had some self-doubt along the way. And yes, there were ups and downs. And we talked about it a lot. And he knew what he was doing was what he was meant to do. And today, many years later, he's very, very happy, enjoying what he was meant to do. And now everybody sees. So the negative and the naysayers, that can be internal or external. And we want to be sure, all of us want to be sure that we're following our own mission, the integrity of our own mission. Think about your life this way. It's an ongoing masterpiece, like the great cathedrals of Europe, like some of these great pieces of art that take decades to bring together. Our lives are these kinds of masterpieces in motion, always evolving, always changing, always bringing something more beautiful into reality. And when we let the naysayers, or we let that negative doubt, gookie stuff, I call it, get in, all kinds of craziness happens, and we start shutting down. And when we shut down, we end up depressed and upset and feeling goofy. So what I say is, your life is a masterpiece. So start signing autographs now. Sign your autograph every day. Like every day I journal, and at the end I sign it. Like it's my autograph. So when I published my books and I'm signing my autograph, which is not my legal signature, it's my autograph signature. Every time I do that, I'm honoring my purpose, my mission, what my heart's desire is. That's different from everyone else's. So when you're deaf to the negative and you're deaf to those naysayers and you follow your heart regardless of what others are saying, it always works out. Every single time. It works out. Why? Because you're following your heart with integrity, and it's meant to work out for you and not someone else, which is why copying someone else doesn't work. I've had people try to copy my work. In fact, I was doing a talk one time at a gifted conference, and a woman came up at the end and said, have you copyrighted all this material? Because I took really good notes and I'm going to use it. I'm going to start teaching what you just taught us. And I said, well, actually, yes, it is copyrighted, and it's in these following books. And one of my other gifted friends who was there and overheard this happens to also be an attorney. And she's like, you have this and that. I go, it's okay. It's really okay, because it came through me as a unique gift. And even if somebody took the outline, it still would not be the way I delivered it with my unique constellation of gifts. It's okay. And of course, the woman never did, at least not yet, in years and years have gone by, use that content. She might have wanted to, but her soul doesn't resonate with it like mine does. So we really want to look at what our soul's resonance is. And for me, it's all about inspiring people and educating people and bringing hope and reminding every one of us that we're perfect and whole and complete. And we have everything we need for our own vision. And your vision, my vision, everybody's vision, it's all different. We're all here for a different purpose, even when they look similar. So I've had people, when I was working in the therapy world, and now I do a lot of mentoring for gifted people, and people say, well, I can't be like you, Diane. And I'm like, I don't want you to be like me. There's not two of me, just like there's not two of you. You want to be you in your unique, amazing, cool way, bringing your gift forward. And it's going to change. I promise you, it will evolve in its iteration over time. It's the same gift, looks different over time. Release blame, release fault finding, release the idea that someone else is responsible for whether you've lived your vision or not to this point, or how you're doing it, or release blame of the people who are the naysayers. What I always say is bless their hearts. It's okay. That doesn't, just because you say something negative doesn't mean I have to listen to it, because I'm deaf to it. I'm following my own calling, my own rhythm, my own inner GPS, if you will. And that's where I go. And I invite you to do the same thing. Because what the people around you will understand is when you are deaf to that and that you're following your vision, they will learn to respect you more. And your boundaries will be clearer, and the people around you will be able to support you in meaningful ways, because they will see that you have integrity and that you have resolve, and you're listening to your inner guidance. So remember a few things. One is you're in charge. You are in charge of your life. Nobody else is responsible for you. To this point, right now, today, right as you listen to me, your life is an exact reflection of everything you've thought, said, and done to date. If there's something that you're unsatisfied with, this is the time to learn how to release it and begin to move beyond it. If there are things you're really excited about, more of that, please. But you're the one in charge. You're the one in charge of being deaf to the negative. You're the one in charge of putting the naysayers in their place. You're the one who's taking care of that inner world of the inner naysayer and the inner negative. It's not just other people. That's why we don't blame. We remember you're in charge. You want to take control of your thoughts. I say to myself all the time, do all people have a safe trip through my consciousness? All people have a safe trip through my consciousness. So there's no landmines. I'm not thinking negative, toxic things about anybody for any reason. And that's a mighty order sometimes, as the world's a little bit full of chaos and goofiness right now. And it would be very easy to go into the trance of negativity. And that doesn't work. So you're in charge of your thought life. Pay attention to it. Choose empowering self-talk. Choose it. I am beautiful, lovable, and capable is what I say at the end of a lot of my Facebook lives, because so many people secretly don't believe that they're beautiful beings, or they don't believe they're lovable, and they don't believe they're capable. But I believe that everyone is. So I remind everybody, you are beautiful, you are lovable, and you are capable, period. How are you going to do that, right? Choose your thinking, right? So when I'm all frustrated, or I get angry because I have all those emotions. My emotional overexcitability, oh boy, I can have emotions. And when I get really angry and frustrated, I immediately have myself trained to start laughing. And what I'm laughing at is how I scrunch my face up when I'm angry. And that play and that interjection of laughter, that interjection of levity helps me be deaf to the negative that's going on in my own head. It doesn't serve to stay in that pity party negative place or that guilt place or that shame place. It doesn't serve us. And in order to shift it, we take control of our own thinking and our own energy. And then, my friends, follow your calling no matter what. Follow your calling no matter what. No matter what anyone else says, no matter whether anyone believes it's a good idea or not, it's not them. Follow your calling. Understand it's going to have different iterations. Let your heart's desire be fully present. Breathe into it. So if you're holding your breath and you're saying it's your calling and you're holding your breath, you might be fooling yourself into thinking it's your calling, but you haven't gone deep enough within to see, is it really your calling? Because a good idea is different than your calling. What you can do is different than what you're called to do. Let me say that again. What you can do is different than what you are called to do, because gifted people, smart, intelligent people can do anything we put our minds to. That's not the question. The question is, what am I called to do? And when you're following your calling, being deaf to all the self-doubt, the other people saying, yeah, but let me play devil's advocate, all of those things becomes a lot easier. As Stephen Covey said, it's easy to say no when there's a burning yes within. It's easy to say no to those naysayers when there's a burning yes within you. And that's my message here, to be deaf to the limiting small language from within and without that holds us back. You're meant to shine. You're meant to bring all of your beauty and greatness to the world. That's what you're here to do in your unique, cool, perfect way. Anything less than that, you're cheapening your own life. And I don't wish that for you. So breathe into that deeper, really cool spot and have trust and faith that if it's in you, it's meant to come out. It's meant to emerge. It's meant to open out of you like a beautiful flower, little by little by little. No, it's not a weekend activity, and you don't have to have it done by noon. It's a lifelong, beautiful journey of letting your soul come more and more alive through your physical body and your senses. It's a journey that is beautiful, but it starts with being deaf to that negative. It starts with taking a stand of following your heart, following your calling, regardless of all the shenanigans all around. So I hope this has helped a little bit and inspired you to say yes and inspired you to breathe into your awesomeness. Until the next episode, be well.